Okay, I think we're ready. Hello and welcome again to Anbalagan Ecuador. This is our ninth session, and I am Santiago Mora, and here with me is Richard Leiva, a fellow Sitecore MVP and the co-organizer of this group. Richard?
Thank you, Santiago. So today we have Madhu Anbalagan from Connective DX. She's going to be talking about Sitecore forms. We're super excited to have you here, Madhu. Thank you very much for coming, and we're super excited. So let's get started.
Cool. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, SUG Ecuador, for the opportunity. So here I am today going to talk about the Sitecore experience forms. Hope you have, all of you had some experience with Sitecore. So this is going to be a little bit of advanced level, though I'll be starting from the introduction. So I might go a little fast for the basic ones, and then I wanted to deep dive into the custom controls. So there it's going to take some time, but let me know if I need to slow down. I'm going to go a little fast in the beginning because it's going to be basic. Let me know if I need to slow down. And here I am starting with the experience forms. So the experience forms is basically used in the marketing landing pages, which creates lots of sales when it is sent as a campaign to the customers. So basically, this is really important because it creates a lot of sales. And so before experience forms, before Sitecore 9, there was a module called WFFM, which was a separate module which you need to install it as a separate download from the Sitecore marketplace, and you need to enable it through config file. With the Sitecore 9, they just integrated the experience forms into the Sitecore. So what it means is, so as you can see, here is my Sitecore 9 install. You can see that the Sitecore forms is part of the Sitecore 9 install. So this is my vanilla instance. I don't have anything, anything I haven't set to be in a config file to enable this. Nothing has changed. Just install Sitecore 9 or 9.1 or 9.2. You should be able to see the forms right here. So it's totally integrated with Sitecore. It's ready to go. So let's get started. So inside the forms, as you can see, it has its elements. It's grouped under basic, list, security, and structure. This is similar to how we have in Visual Studio. Like the controls are there in the toolbox, and you can drag and drop the controls. You can drag and drop the text box, button, anything, and then you just code the backend programming, like what the submit button needs to do. The same thing over here. So when you go inside the forms, I'm just going to create a new form, a blank form. This is just taking a while. Maybe I can do this as part of the demo. I just thought of doing an interactive session, but since this is taking a little longer time, let me do the demo first, and then I'll come back to the demo session again. So you can see the controls under all these 4 categories, and you can drag and drop easily to create your form. And to create a simple form, you don't need any coding, except that you just need only 2 lines of code. And you can create the form within 10 to 15 minutes, and you put it in a marketing landing page. It's ready to go. So it's that easy. So on the form action, so you have created the forms and everything. On the form actions, you can basically, since it's related to the campaign, you can trigger a goal or trigger a campaign activity, or trigger an outcome of, like when they submit, you should trigger an email out, or you should trigger like whatever according to the requirements. You can trigger any outcome. You can send the email campaign message as a follow-up, or you redirect to a thank you page, or any external page you need, and you can save the data as well in your database. For the save data, again, you don't need any custom databases. It comes with when you install Sitecore 9, it comes with that experience forms database. So all the data saves under the experience forms database. So all you need to do is on the submit button, you just need to bind the save data, and you are ready to go. All the fields and everything will be saved over there, and you can export the data to an Excel file as well. So the marketing team or the email team doesn't need to come to a developer to, see how the form is performing. They can just directly go to a Sitecore and download the data, and they can see how the form is performing. So those are all the really good features we can utilize without coming to the developers. And here is a simple form for the scheduling an appointment. This is just a first name, last name, phone, email, multi-text line, a checkbox, and a submit button. So this can be done without writing any custom code. Just the 2 lines of code is needed, as I mentioned previous. So that's it, and you are ready to go. And you can create a multiple pages as well. Like if you have a wizard, or after this you wanted to say a thank you page, you can add a thank you page here as well. All you need to do is on the submit button, it's a little trick that on the navigation step, you just need to set it to next. So that's when the form knows that it should go to the next page, instead of just submit and wait. Is not the case. So if you have a next page to go, make sure your navigation step is set to next. The same thing happens for the multiple pages as well. So here is a multi-page form. You can just add as many pages as you need, and then on the submit button, you just set that navigation step to next. That's it. It's as simple as that. So if you have any wizard or a dates and prices step 1 to step 4, you can definitely create this as as they go through, or a registration form as an optional page. You can add however you want on the forms. So adding it to a web page. So till now you have created your form, multi-page form, or a thank you page. Anything you need, you have created, but now you need to add it to a marketing landing page, or any page you need the form to go in. So that's a simple one, but it's different from a regular page. So when you create a regular page, it's a different layout. When you create a marketing landing page with the Sitecore 9 experience forms, it's a different layout. So that's the 2 little things you need to do is when you create, you should create an MVC layout in your project, and make sure your view is pointing to this MVC outer layout, or you should typically have 2 layouts. Here I have a sample layout and an MVC layout. The sample layout points out to the MVC layout, and inside the MVC layout, this is the 2 lines I was talking about, and this is the namespace you need. And then the HTML.render form styles and form scripts. These 2 lines are definitely needed. Otherwise, the form doesn't render, or you will have the validation problem, or you will have all sorts of problems if you don't have these 2 lines. So make sure before you start the forms development, on the back end, make sure you have your MVC layout, and it has these 2 lines. So those are the only 2 things you needed for to add it to a web page, and your marketing landing page is ready to go for a campaign. So it's as simple as that. So I'm gonna show you guys how to create the form from a scratch, and then we'll take it from there. So I'm just going to create from scratch. So here are my previous ones. You can save it, and you can save it as a template. There are a lot more ways you can do. You can utilize your templates as well. So once you have a template, and you can give it to your email team, so they can even add some styles, or if they have some modifications, they can do it without coming to us. So right now I'm just going to create everything from scratch. So here is my form. I'm just going to add, just a first name, last name, and email, and a submit button. So here is my submit button. So I'm just going to a text box field now. You can see how we do it in a Visual Studio the same way over here. So here, the label, I can give it as first name. I'm just going to leave the rest as it is, but typically you will give an appropriate name over here, and it has the default value, and you can give a placeholder text. So as you say apply, and you can see that the text and placeholder text appear here. So I'm just going to click apply. As you can see, the stuff has been changed. So you just need to click apply to apply the changes. And you can have a validation. You can set that as a mandatory. You can have a string length validator, or you can create your custom validator as well, which is coming up in little later. And you can add your CSS class. So by default, it's a Bootstrap supported. So if you know any on top of your head, if you know any, I'm not a front-end developer, so I'm really bad in when it comes to styling. So I know this is a BTN primary, but I don't know any label files on top of my head. But you can add any of the Bootstrap styles if you need it. But if you have a custom ones, you can add it too. But by default, it supports Bootstrap. And then here is the conditions. This is a separate section I'll be talking about in a upcoming video, and some advanced settings. So basically, all the form is Ajax enabled, as you don't see any postback when you submit the form. And you have the performance tracking, and everything this is all default. You don't need to do anything. Just say apply, and your field is ready to go. The same thing with this. So I'm just going to say a last name, and I'm going to say this is a mandatory, and I'm just going to leave everything same. And now I'm coming back to the email. So now you can see you don't need to write any regex for your validation. All you need to do is just check the email validator. It's checked by default. So you can just set it as mandatory. This will take care of making sure the user is typing as at a valid email. So everything is taken care. You just need to set the proper stuff what you need, apply, and save the form, and you're ready to go. And here is my submit button. So I'm going to bind the save data one, which is the simple one. So here I'm just going to change the thing to submit or sign up, or think that this is a email sign up form or something very simple. So on the button, as you can see, the navigation step is set to submit, but I'll add another page as well. But for now, I'll just leave it as it is. I'm just binding a save data, apply, and save. So I'm just going to save this form as, SUG EC. EC is the country code for Ecuador, right? I believe so.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm just going to save the form as SUG EC form.
Yeah.
It is? Okay, cool. And that's it. So here is my form. So I'm just going back and you can see the form is already created over here. So all now I need to do is I need to go into a content editor and create a landing page. So I'm just gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna go to the content editor. It's always good practice to have a form editor in one window and then a content editor in another window. So now I'm just going to create, again, I'm creating everything from scratch. I'm not going to use any of these ones. So I'm going to create SUG EU marketing landing page. So I'm just going to say SUG, oh, EC, sorry. See, this time I made a mistake. EC page. So the it's a regular sample item page, but on the presentation details, I'm just going to edit. I'm going to add. So add a rendering from, rendering systems forms. It's called MVC form. So this is the rendering I was talking about. So when you go inside the MVC form, it's basically from this MVC, the layout I was talking about. This will have those two lines. So I'm just going to add a placeholder, something like main, and I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to save it. And this is actually preventing from the workflow. So I'm just going to remove the workflow for now. Just going to set it empty. I'm going to save. So I just saved everything. Now you can view this. You can view this page in a preview mode, but always it's a good practice to view it in the live mode for submission, because all the forms validation takes place in the live mode, not in the preview mode. But as you create, you can just go and check it out how the form looks like. But in order to test the form, it's always you need to go into the live mode. But I just want to check here that whether my form is appearing or not. Don't think about the front end piece; it's gonna look ugly. But imagine with a beautiful header and beautiful content. While it's loading, I'm just going to publish everything, since we need to look into this everything in a live mode. So I'm just going to publish the form I created, or you can publish the parent node. I'm sorry, this is taking a little while. Just let me log in back again. I'm just going to close this. Come on. I'm just going to close the browser. I'm not sure why this is happening. Just going to open it again.
No worries. It
Sorry,
wouldn't be a
guys.
real demo without pitfalls.
Sorry.
I was saying that it wouldn't be a real demo if there were no pitfalls. So
Oh yeah, that's true. So I'm just going to publish my new form. So you can see items created as 8. And I'm just going to publish my marketing landing page. So items created 1. So I'm just going to take this one and maybe I'll go in an incognito mode to make sure I'm I hope the page will come up. Yeah, the page has come up, but then the form is not showing. I think you know what? The layout should be set to the MVC layout, not the sample layout. Yeah, so that's the problem. So as I was talking about, this is that MVC layout, and here is that the rendering MVC form rendering, where you need to set the. Oh, I also need to set the data source, because without the data source, it doesn't know like which form to render. So here is my form, and here is my layout. So make sure you have the MVC layout and the MVC form is set to the form which you have created. I'm just going to save again, publish. And that's why I wanted to look into this in a preview mode, but then for some reason it was spinning. So now I'm just going to refresh the page. Yay, the page has come up. So so I just need a volunteer to give your first name and last name and your email. Not the email, just leave the email maybe if you're not comfortable. I just need a volunteer's name to fill out. Anyone can step up and give their first name and last name. And let's see, your name has been submitted and we can see whether your data is saved in the database. Anyone?
yep, let's see. There's a bit of delay, so let's see if someone replies in the next 5 seconds.
Okay, sure. So, so I'm just going to submit before entering anything to see the validation is working or not. So I'm just going to click submit, and you can see that the first name is required, and you can see the form is not getting submitted, and it says first name, last name, and email is required. So we can see that the validation is working, and if anyone is ready with their name, I can go ahead.
I think they are not. The delay is a bit too high. I mean, it's 30 seconds or 1 minute.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll just go with Santiago and is that right?
No, it's MORLA.
MOR
L
L A.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask you
Like,
email.
Santi,
No, that's
Santi
no,
at gmail.com.
no, that's okay. I don't want your Gmail to be spreaded with spam. So I'll just go with sugec@gmail.com or some other email just to protect you. And I'm just gonna hit submit. So it's submitted. If I have another form, another page I would have created, then it should have gone into the page. But I'll come back to that again later. So now that I have form is submitted, and I'm going to submit one more for SUG EC, just to just to put one more data. So we have submitted two datas. So assume that this is a campaign and it went to the customers, and now on the marketing team, they want to see how the form is performing. And all they need to do is they just need to log into Sitecore and go into the SUGEC form. They might have multiple campaigns going on. So these are the forms. So all they need to do is check the form, and as you can see, this one, export the selected form data to CSV. So just click on that. It's gonna give you you can go with the date range if you wanted to see how it's performing today or yesterday or a week. But I'm just gonna go with the complete list. And I'm gonna open up the CSV. Yahoo! Santiago and SUGEC, both of your data is here. So it just took me only 10 minutes to create a form to save the data in a database without any code. All I had in my Visual Studio was, let me show my Visual Studio. So here is my Sitecore 9.1 solution. All I have was the MVC outer layout has these two lines of code. That's it. I don't have any other code in my 9.1 solution. So it's that simple. And I'm going to add a thank you page as well. That's going to be again 2 more minutes. So I'm just going to add another page. So just drag and drop a page. You can drag and drop a section as well. Section is nothing like a div. If you wanted to give some styles to the div, you just need to drag and drop the section and you give your CSS over here. And now inside that, I'm just going to drag and drop a multi-line text. And I'm going to say, I don't need a multi-line text. I think single line text is fine. So I'm just going to delete it. Going to drag and drop a single, not even a single line text. I just need a text. So I'm just going to drag and drop a text, and I'm going to say the text, thank you for submitting the form. We will contact you later. Yep. So I'm just going to hit apply and save. And for this button, I'm just going to change it to a nice color because that's the only style I know in Bootstrap. So I'm just going to say BTN primary and I'm going to say apply. And you can see the styles have been already changed. So I'm just going to save my form. So everything is now saved. I have my thank you page on my submit button. Remember I was saying on the navigation step, I just need to set it to next and apply. So that's how it knows that it has a next page to go. So I have applied and saved, and I need to make sure I publish everything out. So I'm clicking on my form. I'm going to publish my form. So now you can see the item created. One is the page section and then the text, what I had. So now everything is published. So I'm just going to go to the same page. I'm going to refresh the page. The page looks the same because it's the thank you page is what we added. So now I'm going to add, now I need the another coordinator's name. Can I know the other name?
Yep. You can just use mine. Richard.
Richard.
Last name is Leiva.
Leiva.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to protect your email as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm just
Thank
save
you.
it. I'm just going to go with something and I'm going to hit submit. So as you can see on the submit, there is no postback. It's all Ajax, and you can see that the thank you page has been appeared. And we can check the we can check the data as well by going into the form and check this one out. I'm sure his name will also be there. Yes. So as you can see, yep. So that's how you can create your simple form with the multi pages, and you can add as many logic as you need without writing any code, maybe except 2 lines of code. So so till now it's all out of the box. You haven't done anything customized. So let's get back into more detail on how to create the custom ones. So I'm just going to get back to the presentation. So in this section, in the upcoming section, we are going to see how to create the custom control, custom validation, custom submit action. Everything is going to be custom. It requires some code, but it's definitely everything is doable. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the custom submit action. So why do we need a custom submit action? Because there might be a requirement where you need to interact with the Salesforce, or you might need to interact with a third-party API where you wanted to send this data to any API, and they need to process their data into a Salesforce or any other third-party one where you need to send the data out. That's when the custom submit action comes into picture. So as according to the requirements, it's very simple to create a custom submit action. It requires only 3 steps. One is go under the submit action, create your custom action, create a code behind class, because you need to write some logic to talk to the API, and also you can update the Xconnect contact. You can update. You can do anything on this code behind based on your requirements. All you need to do is you need to inherit a class called submit action base, and you need to override this execute method, and you can write your logic inside. And once you are done, you just need to come back and update those fields over here. So it's as simple as this. Let me go ahead and create a submit action from a scratch. So here is the quick demo of this. I'm going to go with each one separate, because if I go into all the validations, everything into one piece, then it's going to be a little confusing. So I'm just going to go with the simple one first. So all you need to do is all the forms, whatever you are seeing, the fields and everything resides under system, settings, and forms. So inside that, whatever you are seeing in the forms, like all the fields, the basic field, the list, the security, the structure, the page, everything is under the validations, the submit actions, everything is under here. So all you need to do is go into system, settings, forms, everything is over here. Submit actions, the validations, you can create your custom validator as well, which is upcoming. So right now I'm just going to focus on submit action, right click, create your new submit action. So I'm just going to call it as SUGEC submit action. So here is my submit action. You can assign any icon you need. I love this Sitecore icon search. It's really, really nice. I'm just going to click on this. It's going to say it's already saved. It's copied into your clipboard. So I'm just going to say okay. And if you come over here, so on the icon one, so I'm just going to copy and paste this, save, and you can see that I really, really love this one. This is like when I go for the open icon, it's going to take some time, and this is so handy, and it's an extension. I strongly recommend that. And so here you can see the model type, error message, and editor. So these are the fields which we need to come back and fill out. But right now I'm just going to go into my backend on my Visual Studio. So on my Visual Studio, the code behind I'm not going to create from scratch since it requires some logic. So I have already it's all done before, but I'm just going to show you what I have written. Because if I write the code from scratch, it's going to take some time. So let me go into here. So here is my class. Typically, this will be a Helix one. So you will be creating this under your feature project or a foundation project. And since this is a project one, this is my sample one. So I just created everything under the project. So here is my class name, and then here is my inheritance. So as I said, it's inheriting from the submit action base. And then here is the execute action method, which is overriding it. So inside this one, it's again going to call the execute method. As you can see, it's again an override. And here is where you will write the logic. So here, what I have written is I have commented out the code because it's according to your need. So basically, the first one is I'm prepping the model. So whatever you have filled out the forms, like the first name, last name, and the email, like you will read it from this form submit context. So this will have all your values, whatever the user is filling out. But then reading out this from a field requires some reflection. Like you just cannot read like directly from like this. Like if you read this one out, like form fields dot first name or default, like where the name equals email address, this is not going to give you a value. Or so as you can see, it's wrapped out from a get value method. So I have created a small method called get value where I have used my reflection. So here is the reflection where you need to use to get the property of value, and then you just need to check null and convert it to a toString. So this is a simple text field where you have written this reflection to get the values. So if it's a drop down or a list box or any of those lists, you need a different reflection. It's in my blog. I'm going to share my blog post at the end of this session. So so this is not going to work. This is going to work for all the simple text box ones, but for the drop down list one, you need a different reflection. So make sure whenever you are reading the values, you make sure you convert it into a reflection to get the actual value. So once you have the model is ready, then it's up to you. You can call. So here I'm calling the Salesforce to send the values out over there. And then again, I'm creating a XDB contact as well to create whatever the values I have. I'm sending it to a XDB contact as well. And then whatever is returning, I'm just returning the true or the false based upon the service call. So this could be any web API call you need, and then return the call results over here. So that's it. Prep your model, call your API, return the result. So based on this, so when it is true, it's going to go into the next step. But when it is false, it's going to go to the error message of what you're going to fill out in the Sitecore. So your backend is now ready to go. So you compiled it and everything is ready to go. So all you need to do is copy your namespace and a class file. So I'm going to go into a Sitecore. Copied my namespace. Sorry, I just need to go multiple times. Um, and here is my model type is what you need to fill out with what you have created on the backend. The error message I'm going to give is whatever, custom submit action failed. So when it returns a false, and this is the error message you are going to get in the form. And the editor, you can just leave it blank for now. For this one, it's not needed, but we are going to use this for a custom control. So for this, you just need to only fill out these two values. So I have filled out everything. My submit action is ready to go. So I'm going to go into my the same form what I have created, and here on the submit button, I'm going to add. So you can actually you can add multiple actions, as many you like, you can add. So I'm going to add my SUGEC submit button, and you can even put which one comes a priority. So you can add send an email campaign message, where this is typically a email campaign will be created by your email campaign team, and you can choose your campaign and you can trigger your outcome as well. So you can add as many as you need, apply and save, and publish out. Make sure you publish your forms whenever you make any changes. Publish, and it's ready to go. Right now, I just cannot test it out because the backend logic to connect to the web API call, everything is commented out. But these are the simple steps to need to create a custom submit action. I'm just going to move on to the next ones. If you have any questions, you can go for it now, but I will take it at the end as well. Hope the pace is okay. Should I need to go a little faster or slower, or is this fine?
I think it's fine.
Okay, cool.
And we have a question, but it's not related to custom action or validations. But probably we can do the questions later.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. So the next one is the custom validation. This is again as simple as what we have created in the submit action. So again, you just need to go into that same forms. Instead of a submit action, you will go into a validation. You can create an item out of the validation template, and then put your regex of what you need, and put your error message. The type is already there because we just need only the regular regex is what we are going to put in the parameters. So this is again a very simple one. I'm just going to create this one again from a scratch. So I'm in the same place as you can see. Here is my validation. So I'm just going to create a new validation from a template. You can either duplicate or you can create your own. So I'm just going to create a new validation. I think it's a validation. I just want to make sure. Yeah, it's a validation. So just going to go with system forms validation. I'm going to create a new validation called SUGEC validation. So as you can see, the type is empty, but we know that it's going to be regular expression. So I'm just going to copy paste it out from email one. So this will be like I had a scenario where I need to validate the Canadian zip codes, and those are not there by default. So I just created a regular expression one, and the message is going to be like, valid zip code is required, or invalid zip code, whatever you can type. And here you will typically put your regular expression of a Canadian zip code, or whatever is your regular expression, you will fill it out over here. Just going to leave it as empty, or I can just copy paste from something from the email validator just to just to put some sample. And here is my validation is ready to go. But if you want it, so here is my validation, but I wanted to add this validation to the control I need. So here maybe on a number field. So here is my number field. So the number field, I wanted to make sure whatever they are entering as the custom validator I need. So as you can see, it's over here. I'm going to save it. That's it. And you need to publish out everything. And so right now I just saved, and I'm going to go back to my form. So here is my form, and I'm going to drag and drop the number control. And you can see the SUGEC validation is over here. So you just make a checkbox, apply, and this is going to validate your regular expression of whatever you have put in over here. So you don't need any backend code or anything. All you need is your, based on your requirements, put in the regular expression over here and add it to the control you need. That's it. You're ready to go. Isn't it so simple than the custom submit action? So if your client is asking for any of the custom validation, it's very simple. So that's it for the custom validation. And now I'm just going to go to the custom control. So this is the custom validation and the custom control. The custom control is little trickier than the previous two because this requires the Spec 3 knowledge or a Spec 2 knowledge if you are on Sitecore 8 or below. The previous ones were only 3 steps and it was ready to go. This one is again simple, but it requires some time to create everything in Spec 3. This is a bit complicated, but definitely this is doable. But before you go for any custom controls, so I had a requirement. I have a frequent of the requirements from the client that they need a reCAPTCHA or they need a file upload, or you might need a hidden download or a hidden element to store some stuff as a cookie or something. So everything, before you create everything, make sure you go to the form extensions. This is a great module. I strongly recommend checking out before you create any custom controls. Custom controls is doable, but this is going to take some time to, do everything, test it and everything. But here, you just need to install the module. Everything is there already. You just need to drag and drop as how we do it. The same thing over here as well. I was trying to do the Google reCAPTCHA. It took me 2 days at least, but I wasn't done with it. And then I came to know that it's already available in form extensions. So before you put an effort, come over here and check out. There is a new version also has been released, and there are a lot of bug fixes has been done. So, and they are adding more and more controls to it. So check out the latest version and make sure, check it out whether you have that control over here. If not, definitely go to the custom control and create your control. And if you feel that that control is going to help out everybody in future, you can upload that. You can contact the form extension guy and you can have that added, or you can create as a Sitecore marketplace module as well. But let's get started on the custom control. So for this, I'm going to go into my Sitecore. The first step is to create stuff in the Spec 3. So anybody knows how to go to the Spec 3? many people might have known, but since it's a delay, I'm just going to go answer myself. So I'm going to go into the core. Since you are creating a control, the spec3, everything lives in the core. So switch your database to core is the first step. And I'm going to go into the content editor. And one second, guys. So here inside the client applications, it's going to be under forms, components, layouts, property grid form. I think I'm going correct. Oh yeah, so I'm right. So here is the property editor settings. As you can see, all the forms, all the fields, whatever you are seeing here, everything is coming out from here. So if you wanted to do some changes over here, you can go ahead and do it, but that's not recommended because it's a OOTB functionality. And if you have any custom ones, I strongly recommend creating a custom one. So here I have already created a custom one, but I'm just going to create everything from scratch. So I'm going to create a control called video. It's already there, but I'm just going to remove it. Just going to remove everything. So here is my property editor settings. You can right click and you can insert from a template. But for now, just to go fast, I'm just going to duplicate one of the controls. Just going to name it as video control. And here is my control. So since I duplicated, it already came with that validation, styling, conditions, and advanced. If you don't need anything, if you do not need anything, you can go ahead and delete. But since it's all the basic ones, I'm just going to leave it as it is. And all I need is what are the fields I need. So I'm just going to rename this one as well. I'm going to create 3 different fields. So for a video, we need a height, width, and a URL. So I'm just going to create height. I'm just renaming it to a height. And when you come down, you can see here what is the form label you wanted to give. I'm going to give it as height. And what is the value you need? I'm just going to give the same name as height. And I'm going to save it. The same thing I'm going to do. I'm going to create 2 more properties. I'm not going to create from scratch. Again, I'm just going to duplicate and change the one. This is a great shortcut if you're running out of time. But make sure you change out everything, no copy paste error. So just change this. The same one, I'm just going to duplicate one for the URL. So here URL, save it. So all my properties I have created, but now come to the details, and you can see that it has the rows as before. We need to make sure we add those fields, whatever we have created over here. So I'm just going to edit, and you need to go through the same thing again. Client, applications, forms, components, layouts. I just get confused every time because it's a long path. So here is the property editor settings, and you can see inside the details, whatever we have created. I'm going to add height, URL, and width. I'm just going to move it up a little bit. After the field name, I just want this height, width, and URL. If you don't want it to, if you don't want the default value or a placeholder text, rows was the previous one. I don't need the minimum text length, maximum text length. All I need is a label and a field name. Label is also not needed, just you need the field name and the height, width, and the URL. So these are the ones that are going to show up in the form. So I'm just going to save everything now. So on the details, you are going to see only these three and the field name. So these are the only four you're going to see. And then the regular ones, the validation, styling, and the conditions. You can keep them or you can delete them. It's up to your requirements. But for now, I'm just going to keep everything. I have saved everything. And I'm going to come back to the master database. So all spec3 is done. All you have done is changed out to the core and go inside the form, the long path, and then you create your own control. This could be your any custom control you need. Just come over here, create the properties you need, make sure it's on the details, save it, and you can check in this as part of your TDS or your Unicorn, whatever is you are using. The same way as how you check in your Sitecore content, the same way you will check in your core and as well as your forms, your landing page, everything. And then it gets deployed as part of the deployment. There is no extra step needed to deploy the forms. And I'm going to come back to the master now. So now that my spec3 is already done, so now I'm just going to go with the forms, field types. Maybe under the basic, I'm going to create the video control. So here I'm creating a video control, or you can just leave it as video. So here is my video. You might be wondering why I'm creating again. We have already created it over there, right? So why we need this, because I don't know why it's created as a validation. I'm sorry. I'm just going to rename, delete. This should be a field type or a text type. So I'm just going to go with a field type. So that one, what we have created in the core is the form element. And now here we are creating it. We are creating here on the master DB to make sure we are binding that spec3 into the control what we are creating. So here is my simple view field type, and I'm going to fill out the view path from the backend, the model type from the backend, and the validation. You can have your own validation. I'm just going to go with my custom validation, and this is the one I was talking about, the property editor. This is what the spec3 is. So here, if I click on, you can see this is coming from the core, and you can see my video control. So I'm just going to choose this. But if you go inside the template, I just wanted to show that it comes from the core. As you can see that the new control, whatever I have created, is already there. But I just wanted to show the data source for that. So you can see the property editor. The data source is this GUID, and then the database name is core. So this is coming from the core, and just wanted to make sure whatever we have created is what we chose over here. So I'm just going to save this. These two are required. Again, I'm going to come back to the Visual Studio. Hope it's not confusing to you guys. I'm going to recap again. So here is my video control. This will again go into your Helix feature, like anywhere you need. Here is my model. I don't know why these ones are showing us red. This should be okay. This should be a simple one. Just ignore the red color. But I'm just inheriting from the field view model and just overriding the init and the update. As you can see, the three properties, I'm just reading it and updating it. So this is a simple one. Whatever the properties you are creating, you just need to make sure you put in the properties inside the init item and the update item methods, overriding it and put in the fields. That's it. Your model is ready. And then on your CS/HTML, I'm again like binding my model, the height, width, and the URL to iframe so that it can play a video. So the URL will typically have your video URL, and then you can control your height and width of what you need from your iframe. So I have my view and the model is ready. So again, you just need to copy paste these into the Sitecore. So I'm just going back over here. My model is going to be the video model, and my view is going to be the view of what I created. I think it's going to be video control.cshtml. So video control .cshtml. So this is my view path and this is my model. I have my validation and I make sure my property editor has set to that spec3 what I have, and save and publish. Make sure you have anything on your forms, make sure you publish out because a lot of the problems what people see is they don't publish the form and either that validation doesn't work or they don't see the fields. And now here I am in my form elements, and you can see the video control over here. So I hope this will work. I'm just going to drag and drop. This says the form element was not loaded due to the error. Maybe I might need to compile my Visual Studio. The Visual Studio was, I don't know why it's acting weird as, this doesn't seem right. That's why it was showing the error, but in a typical use case, you will, when you drag and drop, you can see all those three properties, the height, width, and the URL will be there, and you just need to fill it out, apply and save, publish, you're all ready to go. So, so to recap, the first step is create your control in the core. And then the second step is on the master, create your control. Make sure you bind your control to the core control you have created, and then create your model and the view path to put in your controls, CS/HTML and the model. And if it requires any JavaScript or any jQuery, you can put in everything inside the CS/HTML as well. So so it's again simple, but requires some spec3. But before you create any custom controls, make sure you check it out. Check out the form extensions to see if it's there or not. So this is the custom control, and again, some of the cool properties are there in the forms. So once the campaign is out, basically you can analyze the usage and the performance statistics. So when you go inside the form, so this is all again, like when you go inside the form, you can see how the performance was. See the unique views, because I was using in the incognito mode, and we have submitted it for 3 times, and one time maybe I didn't submit it because it was giving that required field 1, and it gives you how many people have visited the page but haven't submitted. And this is for the forms, but even you can do it for the email or any of your field. So in case if you have a date of birth field or any of your complex field, you can come here and see how the field is performing. See how much they have taken the average time out to fill out the field, and how many times people are erroring out, how many times people are not filling out the field. You can do a field level performance or a form level performance directly in the Sitecore. So once the form is ready, and give out the template over there. So I have, this is my form, and I have, as a developer, I have created, and you can save this form as a template. So here is my form. I'm just going to save this as a template. So rename, go inside the form, and here it is, save the form as a template. So I'm just going to create the template. So I'm just going to give it a name as template. So save it. Again, you can check in this one as part of your Unicorn or TDS. It's saved. Now go into all templates, and you should be able to see that the SUGEC template is already there. So from this template, if they need any modifications, the marketing team can come over here, and they can even like create it straight away from the template. So now it's all ready to go. And if they need to change some styles, or if they need to add any field, any smaller modifications they need, anything, they can come here and change and save. Again, they can send this form as a campaign. So the base is already there. They can enhance it however they need. So again, the forms. So on the, again, some of the cool properties is like here, everything looks so blank. And if you want, you can, create a thumbnail as well if you wanted to differentiate. So I'm just going to go inside the form, and on the settings, I'm just going to select a media, and just going to select the default Sitecore picture. I'm going to say apply, save, and come back. As you can see, so it can give some visual representation to check out the forms. And also one other quick thing you can do is you can save this in a folder as well. As you can see, so here I have lots of forms and lots of templates. If you wanted to save this in a folder structure, so basically all these forms goes here in this forms. So everything, all the forms goes inside this. As you can see, already I have some folders created. So I'm just going to create a new folder. I'm just going to create SUGEC folder. I'm going to save it. So here is my folder, and I wanted to move these two. So any changes you want to make, you cannot drag and drop anything over here. You can see all the, so one other thing I wanted to say is, whatever you are creating in the forms designer, everything you can see it over here. But if you wanted to make any changes, you don't make any changes over here. It's not recommended by Sitecore. You always go to the forms designer and you change it over here. That's why I strongly recommend like putting a two different ones for the form designer, another for the content editor. And you can see all the fields and whatever we have filled out. If any of your field is not working or anything, you can always come over here and check out that whatever you have filled out is over here. And you can even go to the web database and check out whether it's everything is published, everything looks good. This is only for the view purpose, not for changing purpose. Anything you wanted to change, go to your forms designer and change anything over there, save. Only you will come here to publish, and you can view if something is wrong with your forms. You can come here and view it. So, so for now, I created a folder called SUGEC. So I'm just going to move my form to this one, SUGEC. And it's moved already. The same thing, I want to do it for the template as well. So I'm just going to move it to another location. So that's it. So now I'm just going to refresh, and as you can see, it's already moved. So, but make sure you publish everything out. So it's already moved, and now if I go into my Sitecore presentation MVC form, you can see it's already the path has been already changed. You can see that the folder name has been already changed. So it will remap everything on its own, but any changes with the forms, either over here or in your system settings forms or in your core database, everything needs to be checked in and published. And it's always recommended to test it in a live mode, not in a preview mode. So those are some of the cool things you can do with the forms. Let me get back over here. So this is how you can do the analyzing your performance on your field level or on the form level. And what's new in Sitecore 9.1 and 9.2 is released. So they have added some of the cool features. So one of the most recommended is the conditional access. So conditional access was the most frequently asked requirement from the client, that they wanted to hide or show based upon the user input. Like from the drop down, if you wanted to choose a country, then the other drop down should show the states or any of the requirements. So if you have a Sitecore 9.1, it's already baked in, it's ready to go. I'm going to show a quick demo as well over here to show how the conditional access works. This is a little bit trickier one because I thought it's going to be like a C#, how we write the conditional ones, like how we write the if-else logic. I was writing the same on the Sitecore, but then the Sitecore was behaving different. I'm going to show this in a demo to show what's the trickier thing. And the forms, you can save it in the folders. I was showing the folder structure one, and you can control the security access as well. So you can either, if you don't want it to give the authorization to the content authors, you can definitely hide the forms in the control security access so that it's not exposed to other teams as if you don't want it, you can definitely hide them. And pre-filling the forms is there in Sitecore 9.1. This is through the value providers. It's again the most asked one. That's a good that it came up with the Sitecore 9.1. What's new in Sitecore 9.2? They have integrated the forms with SXA and JSS. So I haven't tried it yet. It's only 9.2 beta is out, but if you have a beta access, check it out. I heard it's so cool. So I'm literally waiting for 9.2. Try out the SXA plus JSS forms. Just the demo time for the conditional access. So I'm just going to go, I'm not going to create everything from scratch for this because as you know how to create the forms by now. So I have my form, something called attendee form. So this is going to simply ask how many attendees were there. If it says 1, then you're going to show only 1. If it's 2, then it's going to show this section and you're going to hit submit. Let me show the actual page. So just going to go to this page. I thought I had it in my incognito mode. 1 second. So here is my form. Oh, this is not what I need. Okay. Sorry, this is not the form I need. I need this form. So this is just going to ask how many attendees. Number one attendee, then it's going to only show the number one first name, last name. Number two, if it's two attendees, it's going to show two. If it's three, then you can add one more condition as well. Then you can fill out the form and you can submit. So this looks like so simple, but right now I'm going to go here. So on the drop down or anywhere on the form, you can write the conditional logic. So here is my drop down. So when it hits empty, 1 and 2 is what I should be writing, the conditional logic. So how did you write the logic? Like in terms of a flow chart or any logic, it's not, you don't need to write it in C#. I just need the logic, how you're thinking. How I was thinking was, if the drop down equals 1, then show this one. If the drop down is equal to 2, then show 1 and 2, right? And if it's empty, then hide both, right? I think that's how generally we write the if, then if else logic. If anyone is not same page with me, let me know. But that's how I was written for the logic over here, but that wasn't working as what it was expected. So what I have written over here is, you'll be surprised of what I have written. So here you can see the attendee is, let me put it in a bigger mode. So this one is, if you can see, the attendees is equal to 2, then show 2 and show 1. If attendees is equal to empty, then hide attendee 1. But where is the condition for when it's equal to 1, it should show 1, right? When it's equal to empty, it should say hide 1 and 2, right? So I'm just going to edit the condition. You can add the condition or add the ones as you need. It's so simple. Like, I'm just not going to add anything out. I'm just going to delete one out. So this is how I have written the logic. The reason, because the Sitecore executes the conditions in a different way. Basically, whenever it's false, it reverses the condition. So when it's not equal to 2, which means it's going to hide both. And then it's going to come over here. When it's not equal to empty, then it's going to show the attendee section number 1, which means it's 1. So I know this is confusing, but what I'm trying to say is, whenever you're writing the conditional logic, make sure that Sitecore, if it is satisfying, then it will show whatever is needed. If it is not, then it's not going to skip it. It's going to reverse it. So that's why for this simple 2 forms, just I have one section of 1 and 2 sections. And for these, I have written the logic like this. But if you have 10 different text boxes, make sure you are thinking as, if it's not satisfying, it's going to reverse it. So this took me a couple of hours to figure out that how it works. So make sure it's not as C# or any of the logic we write in JavaScript or in any other languages. Sitecore executes it in a row, but when the condition is not satisfied, it's going to reverse the logic. So that's the conditional logic. I just thought, like, when I wanted to try out, I just came in, the conditions is straightly baked into the control, and all you need to do is you just need to add a condition, and you just need to choose what the drop down you need, and you just need to say it's equal to like 1 or 2, and you're just going to show the section 1 show, and then I'm going to add section 2 hide or show, and okay and apply is what I thought. Adding everything is easy. It's just a mindset of logic of how it executes is what you need to give your thoughts on. So that's it for the conditional access. I'm going to wrap up the ones a little quicker because we are going to be 10 more minutes to go. So WFFM is, again, it's gone. If you have your WFFM running in your solution, there is a support package for Sitecore 9 is available. You can install it. But if you have Sitecore 9.1, if you are upgrading it to 9.1, there is no support package. So, but if you wanted to convert, there is a tool created by Azandro Faniello, and he has the tool of converting the WFFM to a Sitecore 9 forms. So, so if your project has a WFFM and if you are upgrading it to Sitecore 9 or if you are upgrading it to Sitecore 9, you can still maintain it with a support package. But if you wanted to upgrade to Sitecore 9, make sure you check out the tool. This is super helpful. Without that, it's gonna save you a tremendous amount of time. So check out this tool if you are converting into forms from WFFM. And here are the common errors I see in the Sitecore 9 forms. That whenever you create a form, the form is missing is the most frequently asked question in the forms or in the Sitecore Stack Exchange. So there is a bug in Sitecore 9 forms that whenever you create the forms, the very first time, you don't see it. If you don't see it, don't panic. You just need to rebuild your master index. This needs to be done only at the first time. And then once you see the forms, it's always there. You don't need to do this every single time. So even today, when I was created, you never seen me rebuilding my master index. It just happens at the very first time. And the forms is redirecting to the forms builder when you are on the submit. So this is again a frequently asked one. You just need to make sure those two lines are added to your layout.cshtml file. And another one is when you submit the form, I was getting this required anti-forgery cookie request verification token wasn't present. So this turned out to be a caching issue. So if you have any of your form or any of your, the header or not the header, any of your other components on the marketing landing pages cached, then this appears. So make sure you have any of your, the higher level containers, everything, the caching is unchecked in order for the form to perform well. So these are the quite common errors I usually see. And here are the good blog resources if you're exploring. Here is the YouTube video of Sitecore MVP Dylan Young. He has a 20-minute video on forms. If you're starting on forms, I strongly recommend watching this YouTube video. It covers all the basics. And here are the other good blogs on custom submit action or any of your custom ones. There are good blog resources out there. You can check it out as well. And at the last, if you are not part of the Sitecore Stack Exchange or the hashtag WFFM forms on the Sitecore community, join as well. This is going to give you a personal attention to any of your questions asked, or if you have a quick chat, you can always ask them. People are quite active and it's very, very helpful. And that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. I'll take the question and answers now.
Okay, we have two questions. The first one is, how easy is to migrate complex web form for marketplace forms to Sitecore forms?
How complex? It is a medium level complex because WFFM has some of the controls which is not available in forms. If it's straight one-on-one, then it's easy. The WFFM conversion tool takes quite a time to convert your data and your controls. That's very, very helpful. The controls which you don't have it in the forms, because forms is still maturing. The WFFM has more controls. So if you have those controls, then you need to write down everything from scratch. It's doable, but I would say it's a medium complex.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one is, can these be installed on versions previous to Sitecore 9, like Sitecore forms, or they have to stay with web form marketers?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
So if this Sitecore forms, is only available for Sitecore 9 and later version, right? You
Yeah.
can use it on Sitecore 8, like you can install like as a module.
No, for Sitecore 8, you need WFFM.
Cool. I don't think we have any more questions from the audience, so thank you very much. It was a very interesting session, and hopefully we have you in other sessions as well.
Yes, and thank you so much, Santiago and Richard, for having me and going through the YouTube live and everything. I really appreciate your effort, and thank you all for the listening. I hope you had some idea about forms, and feel free to reach out to me in Twitter or on my blog, or on the forms or SSC channel. I hope I'll chat with you guys sometime soon.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye.